We've got some big-time Republican politicians in town today, and to talk about that and kind of some of the fallout from the recent election, our political analyst John Dadian's here this morning. So are you going to see President Bush or Newt Gingrich later on today?
I don't think I'll see Newt. I was hoping to see him here this morning, but yes, I'll be at the President Bush event later this morning. Okay,
so is the president just selling books here today, or is there more to this visit?
Well, I think there's more to the visit because this is the start of him, going for the legacy of people really seeing behind the scene what he really felt he's accomplished. What the reviews on his books are just phenomenal, and I think people are understanding really what he went through.
Pretty candid, pretty honest, from what we can tell so far.
He's had some hard interviews, Matt Lauer, etc., and he's done very well in all of them. I thought Oprah Winfrey was very fair.
All right, Newt Gingrich in town as well. He's got a new book, Valley Forge, and I know that's part of the reason why he's here in town to talk about that. But he's been mentioned as a possible presidential candidate in 2012. What do you think?
I think he's running hard.
Okay. You really think this is the beginning of the unannounced campaign?
Oh, I think the presidential campaign for 2012 started about a year ago. So, yeah, on the Republican side, there's about 15 major candidates that are being talked about right now. Clearly, Newt Gingrich is up there.
Okay, let's talk about back here local politics, at least as far as California is concerned. This redistricting commission, okay, this is something that's kind of obscure. Most people don't understand how absolutely vital and critical it is to state politics. Kind of explain what it is and what's happening today.
Talk about the Catch-22. It's one of the most obscure commissions, and it will have probably the most impact because this will impact all of our lives for the next decade, literally. What happens today is over 30,000 people initially applied for this commission. Today it's down to 36 finalists, and they will select the first 8 this morning at 10 o'clock.
Now, you were telling me there's just one San Diegan in the pool of 36 finalists for this very powerful commission, and there's no guarantee that person's name will be drawn out of the hat.
That's absolutely correct. And that's why they have a kind of a two-tier system. It's going to be by random today, the first 8, but then those 8 will pick the final 6, and so that's hopefully going to have a little bit of a balance that if somebody's really qualified, not selected randomly, they still have a chance of being on.
Okay, again, a redistricting commission sounds so obscure to most people. But they actually draw district lines which help determine the makeup of individual districts?
One of the criticisms of our current district is what they call as gerrymandered. That is so secure, and you really saw that in California. There really wasn't much changeover. So that's the biggest impact. But what a lot of people forget, the real impact going nationally is once the districts and the census is finalized, things such as federal funding, transportation fees, all of this is impacted by that formula. So it affects every single aspect of our lives.
So if you're in a district, I guess you want the biggest district you can squeeze in, or does that have anything to do with it?
No.
It doesn't, okay.
One of the criteria is, again, there's, 80 assembly districts, 40 state senate. They need to, as much as possible be equal as far as proportion on that side.
So they try to draw them equally in terms of population, but in the past, the politicians have tried to draw all of their friends and friendly voters inside those lines. So you get these crazy districts with little fingers offshooting into neighborhoods that they'll probably never visit.
And the hope, and I use the word hope, that this commission will avoid that.
Okay. What else do you see going on in the state right now that's critical? What about the whole budget idea here now? Voters, whether they realize it or not, have voted to give the party in power, the Democrats, the power to pass a state budget with a simple majority now. So the Democrats can basically pass whatever budget they want next time around, correct?
That's absolutely correct. That now is the law because the initiative passed. But specifically, the majority party has control of the Assembly, the Senate, and the executive branch. Normally, if there's checks and balance, if there was a different party in the executive branch, there could be a veto power. That's probably realistically doesn't exist anymore. And
did we not give up the requirement that any tax increases be a supermajority?
Well, there's a lot of things going on with that. One little nuance that happened recently is there was some people trying to say that they could pass new taxes just through the budget process, and I think the courts are going to say, no, you can't do that.
Okay, so it's interesting. Still plenty to talk about going forward. But again, those guys that are here in town today, we're going to hear more from both of them.
You've got Newt, you've got former President Bush, and you've got the Republican governors in town. So San Diego is the hub right now for politics today.
Okay, very good. John Dadian, always good to see you.
Good to see you, Marc.
Thanks for coming.